Hate Follow is about Whitney Golden, who's a 37-year-old influencer with a family, and she's a widow, and so this is her moneymaker, and she's making a ton of money. And she doesn't necessarily talk about her kids all the time, but she definitely shares about them. They do photo shoots, they help her with ads, and her teen daughter finally says, "I don't want to do this anymore." And then after back and forth, and Whitney saying, "I'm sorry, this is our lifestyle," Mia, her daughter, sues her for invasion of privacy. And I swear this is going to happen because exactly like you said, these kids are coming of age right now. And they have their whole lives are online. And I think a lot of them don't know or don't even know to the extent that their parents have shared them. But this was inspired. So I've been following influencers for a long time. I first wrote about them in Self magazine in 2009. I interviewed health and fitness bloggers who have now gone on to be influencers on Instagram. They're like micro influencers. But so I've been watching them, and then I got married, and there's, the wedding influencers, and I had babies, and there's the birth stories, and then you're decorating a house. And then when the pandemic hit, I had already written a book that didn't get me an agent, and the pandemic hit, and so many moms were at home with their kids who couldn't go to school. You're just with them all day, and I think things started getting a little weird on social media, to be honest. And people were posting, super revealing stuff. I saw babies with cancer having cancer treatments, and really just revealing stuff. And I saw parents who died, which was part of my story as well. And just, people let you into their lives in such a revealing way. And I remember thinking there were two men who died, and their wives went on to become pretty big influencers, thinking, okay, so what about when their kids are older and they see their dad all over their mom's Instagram page? What are they going to say? I mean, is that the mother's story to tell? Is that their story to tell? Or is it anybody's story to tell? And so that was a jumping off point. But then, of course, you get into the privacy issues with kids. And there's so many levels to this. There's the people who share just, to their friends and family all the time. There's people who have the open Instagrams that don't even really realize that those pictures could be taken by anyone. And then there are the influencers with that huge platforms who, I'm fascinated by these families that it seems like their jobs are like these dancing videos. And I'm like, that's your job. That's all you do. And how is that sustainable? And then how does that affect your children? Because they most likely are having people come up to them in real life who know who they are. And I just think that's fascinating and could be talked about forever. It's a dual point of view with the mother, Whitney, and the daughter, Mia. So you do get to see both sides. And then after every Whitney chapter, I put in a hate follow forum where they're dissecting everything Whitney does, because that is a very real thing as well. And going back years ago, I remember, I don't even remember what influencer, but just typing in Google such and such influencer annoying, and it popped up that there are these forums that people just literally, oh my God, did you see what she was wearing? And they criticize their parenting and just everything. And so I wanted to show that as well. So there's kind of 3 points of view, in that it's mother, daughter, and then, strangers, which is really fascinating. That was my favorite part to write, I think. Dialogue is kind of the easiest for me. I think that's probably the journalism part of me coming back, that it feels very natural, and knowing how people talk to each other. And it was really fun for the high school girls to be able to have no slang or anything like that, because you don't want to date the book, but just thinking about how they would talk versus the mothers would talk. So that was really fun. I do think I think about things a little differently as an editor and just as a journalist in general, because like I said, there are these weird layers, and I almost feel, and I'm also a parent, and my kids are 6 and 9, and so we're going to be getting into the cell phone conversations and the social media conversations soon, and so I have all of this kind of in my brain, and yeah, I do think it's made me think, okay, so on one hand, the mother is making a living and she should be able to do that. And she lost her husband, and that is traumatic, and she should be able to share that with people. Um, and then, of course, you're building this community, and then they just are obsessed with you. And so then it becomes validation for your life, right? And then you have the teen saying, Mom, I don't want you to share about me. And all of that, which I understand. And I've had little things. I'm not a big sharer online, but just little things with my kids that you think, should I have done that? And I even see I see people on Instagram who are trying to build, these businesses, and they post these really revealing things about their children. And it's almost like our culture has put so much emphasis on sharing, but why? Like, why would sharing about a miscarriage make someone want to hire you as a personal trainer? Like, I don't understand, but that's really become this thing. And then there are the people who spend so much time dissecting the hate followers. And, so they hate these people, but they spend so many hours a day obsessing over them. So it is, I even have another thing I've thought about is influencers have kind of been a driving force of killing magazines. you know, because advertisers know that influencers can get like a more targeted, um, you know, at their audience. And I even think about when I was at Allure, every beauty product we wrote about, we had to call a chemist and talk about the ingredients. And, we didn't write about lipstick unless it was, a good lipstick. And we talked, if it was a crappy ingredient, they told us. But now influencers say, oh my God, I love this so much. And people just buy it and they get proceeds off of that. And so that's fascinating to me that that has killed part of my industry, and that's just one of those things. I think there's so many things about social media that we're not really realizing yet, and it's been really fascinating kind of be like, wait a second, what about this? Or so yeah, I really loved looking at all of this for sure.